ISSA RAE, well-known producer, director, writer, and overall filmmaker in Hollywood, is now facing a federal copyright infringement lawsuit. Let's talk about it. All right, as you can see here, this says here, ISSA RAE hit with plagiarism lawsuit for One of Them Days. Now, One of Them Days is a film that she recently released via her production company. And I can tell you that these types of lawsuits are common here in Hollywood. You will be hard pressed to find any A-lister or movie producer, writer, director who hasn't been hit with one of these types of lawsuit infringement claims, because this is very common in Hollywood, that we'll have things work out here. And so this is nothing out of the ordinary. And what do I always tell you guys? I always tell you guys that these lawsuits are allegations. This is the plaintiff's allegations. Nothing has been proven. This is what they're alleging to the courts. Hey, this is what happened, and this is who we are, this is who they are, and this is how the defendant wronged us. Therefore, courts, we want you to do this. So we want you to make the defendant refrain from doing that, or make the defendant pay this because they wronged us in some sort of way. That's their allegations, and it's important to note that nothing has been proven. And I don't even think at this point that ISSA RAE's company has even responded to the lawsuit as of yet. They have a few more days, and I'm sure they'll take care of it. And like I always tell you, 98% of all lawsuits settle. So who knows what may happen? But what is going on here? If you go to the lawsuit here at the top, right, you see these people, plaintiffs, the plaintiffs' names, and they're suing these defendants in United States District Court. Every time you see United States District Court, it means federal court. And why is it in federal court? Because as you see over here, there is a copyright infringement. And if many of you have seen my other videos where I've discussed what a copyright is and what infringement is. And just a brief recap, because I don't want to delve too much into that, but a brief recap, a copyright is when you are the author of an original work that you came up with, and then you put it into a fixed medium, i.e. a screenplay, a book, a movie, a software program, an art framework, what have you. Now, in order for you to bring a claim into federal court that someone used your copyright without your permission, that's what they label as infringement, you have to be registered with the Copyright Office. So as we delve into the lawsuit here, you see these three plaintiffs are suing these defendants: Sony Pictures, TriStar, Color Creative Productions, Inc., and Color Creative LLC, and one more defendant named Sarita Singleton. Now, who is Color Creative? How did ISSA RAE get involved in this? So if you look at the lawsuit, right, it says plaintiffs are informed and believe, based upon such information and belief, the defendant Color Creative Productions Incorporated is a corporation organized and existing under the laws of the state of California, is licensed to do business in the state of California and County of Los Angeles. Color Creative Productions was founded by ISSA RAE, a well-known actor, director, and producer. So that's how ISSA RAE is tied to this. They're alleging that her company, Color Creative, which is one of the defendants that they name, has something to do with this infringement, this copyright infringement. So what actually happened? Now we know why ISSA RAE is tied to this, and along with the other defendants. So what happened here? Let's go into the lawsuits. And remember what I told you, allegations. So nothing has been proven yet. So now we look at the factual allegations here. First line says, all plaintiffs herein are successful screenwriters, directors, and movie producers. That's important, because the way things happen out here in Hollywood, there are a lot of people who are new to the business and new to the industry, and they don't really understand how things go and the method of which you go about doing things. I know people outside of Hollywood think that Hollywood is just some carefree place and it's just all over the place. But in essence, there is a method to the madness, specifically when it comes to pitching your work. So let's go on here. So what happened? What happened here in this lawsuit, all right? If you look here, it says in or around January 2020, right? So that's 5 years ago. The plaintiffs wrote a screenplay collectively called One of Those Days. Not to be confused with ISSA RAE's movie, One of Them Days, but One of Those Days. And it says here they are the original authors of the screenplay and they own rights and title to the copyright. And the screenplay has been registered with the United States Copyright Office with the registration number, as you can see. That's why I pointed that out earlier. So, you know, if they have to be, for them to have a copyright, you have to be the original authors of the original work, and it's put into a fixed median, which is the screenplay here. They put it into a screenplay, and then they registered it with the U.S. Copyright Office, which now allows them to bring a claim against someone for using their copyright without their permission. This is what they're alleging, okay? So what happened? So they wrote this play about 5 years ago. So now let's go to the lawsuit. So on October 18, 2023, this person right here, Danny, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Danny, a well-known movie producer, industry producer, and the plaintiff Isaacson agreed to shop the play to secure a distribution deal with a major movie distributor. Plaintiff Isaacson emailed the screenplay to Danny. This was the first time the screenplay had ever been given to a third party. The plaintiffs to date have not heard from Danny as to the outcome of shopping the screenplay. Now, let me just stop right there and pause and point something out. It is very common that when you have a project that you want to pitch, so you want to turn it into a movie, and you want to get some funding for it and secure a distribution deal to get it distributed to different network streaming services, etc. That's very common in Hollywood. But what is not proper, and I don't see it here, and I don't know if they did this, it's just not illustrated in the lawsuit. Let me just tell you, studios, TV networks, and streaming services, all alike, they have this thing called unsolicited submissions. Unsolicited submissions. They do not take projects and pitch decks and all kind of ideas from people that they don't know and that they did not formally go through the submission process. It's unsolicited. They will not take it. What typically happens is they go to people like myself, who then talk to their attorneys from Netflix or Hulu or whomever, right? ABC, Sony, whomever. We get there with their attorneys, and then we drop some contractual paperwork in order to get this thing pitched. That avoids lawsuits. That avoids confusion. That's the way it should be done. I do not see that illustrated here, although they may have done that. I just don't see it illustrated here in the lawsuit, and maybe it's not even necessary to even mention in the lawsuit. But that's just something that we do here, and that's the proper way to do things. And this is what I often get myself involved in when people come to me and say, hey, I have this movie idea, or I have this TV show idea, or I have whatever, right? And they say, this book idea, and I want to get it over to that entity, this business entity, parent, whoever, and how can I get it over there? And they call people like myself, the attorneys, or they call their agents, and their agents get with the literary agents or whomever of the actual business entity. That's how it typically works. But just going from one person to the next without it being actually submitted through the proper channels, that typically leads to these types of actions. I have seen it time and time again. So you might want to avoid that and try to do things anyway. But at any rate, that's what happened in 2023. So what happened after that? Almost a year later, on April 7, 2024, the plaintiffs, Isaacson and Oku, had a Zoom meeting with someone named Xavier Charles and Roman Arabia, co-owners of Green Eggs Go Ham. Green Eggs Go Ham, well-known content creators in the movie industry, in an effort to secure funding and possibly a major movie distribution deal. The screenplay was then given to Green Eggs Go Ham in an email, April 8th, 2024. So here we go again. They're meeting with people, and again, there's still no mention of their lawyers being involved or their agents. I'm not sure if they were, but there's just no mention of it. But you don't want to move that way if that's the case. I don't know what happened here, but just you in your own life, just know that this is not to be construed as legal advice. This is just me telling you that, hey, this is some life advice. You want to do things strategically, and you want to do things in order. So that's what happened on April 8th of 2024. So now they emailed the screenplay to these content creators in the movie industry called Green Eggs Go Ham. Then on April 12th, 2024, Green Eggs Go Ham notified the plaintiffs that they would not be able to assist them in shopping and assisting in funding their film. So they let them know, I don't know, approximately 4 or 5 days later, hey, you know what? Thank you, but we're not gonna be able to assist you with this. So it was nice doing business with you. What happens next? Unbeknownst to the plaintiffs, on April 26, 2024, so it's like 2 weeks later, Deadline.com announced that the motion picture One of Them Days will be produced by ISSA RAE. The plaintiffs later learned that Xavier Charles, the same people of Green Eggs Go Ham, was a stuntman on the HBO TV series Insecure, which was produced and starred by ISSA RAE, the founding member of Color Creative. The title of the screenplay, One of Those Days, and the title of the motion picture, One of Them Days, are strongly similar. Well, the titles are strongly similar, but obviously it's going to be more of an in-depth legal analysis to see if there's actually some copyright and infringement going on here. But one can admit, yeah, the titles are extremely similar. Just those two different pronouns. One is an objective pronoun, the other one is a demonstrative pronoun. But nonetheless, they're not going to get into a grammar lesson in court, but that is what they're alleging. So then what happened? On January 17, 2025, One of Them Days was released in the United States and Canada through Sony Pictures, TriStar, and Color Creative. That's those three defendants we saw earlier. According to the credits of One of Them Days, it is alleged that it has been written by Singleton, not the plaintiffs. After viewing the movie, One of Them Days, plaintiffs noticed at least 29 similarities in the screenplay of One of Them Days. Such information was sent to the defendants and TriStar's counsel on January 31st, 2025. Defendants are alleged to have infringed upon the plaintiff's copyright by essentially releasing the motion picture that is strongly similar to the plaintiff's screenplay. One of Them Days and the screenplay have strong similarities in the underlying story structure, according to the screenwriter and expert that they have here. So that's what you have here. They're alleging that, hey, you know what? We sent to this person, and this person was actually a stuntman on your project, and you worked with him before. So how did you get this title that's so similar to my title? And when we watched the film, there's at least 29 similarities between the original screenplay that we wrote and that we registered with the Copyright Office and the film that you released 5 years later. That's what they're alleging. And now they went to the court and they're alleging copyright infringement, and they asked the court, so now, okay, we told you who we are. We told you who the defendants are. We told you what happened allegations-wise. And now what do they want the court to do? As you see in their prayer for relief, they want damages, profits, attorney's fees, court costs, and any other relief the court may deem proper on this case. That's the skinny pretty much on this claim. Like I said, this is very, very common in Hollywood. This is allegations. And like I said earlier, 90% of all civil lawsuits do settle. It's kind of difficult at this point to say, hey, you know, there's definitely infringement here. We don't know that because we haven't even seen the actual screenplay. That would be left up to the jury because they're demanding a jury trial. So I'm sure they'll have the jury look at it if it even gets that far. And then they'll look at the actual script of the actual movie that was released. And they'll just go compare side to side. But I want to know, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that, hey, you know what, why'd they wait 5 years? Or do you think this lawsuit is just something like they're just trying to do maybe because they like, hey, this is put us out, but they got it done, ISSA RAE company got it done themselves? Or do you think they have a legitimate claim? I want to know what you think. Sound off, like, share, comment, subscribe. Put it in the comments. I want to hear all your thoughts about this. It's your brother, Attorney Jeff.